Hey there. I'm opening up my set of Himi Gouache. I got these online for under $20, and they are moist gouache, pigments that come in these little jelly tubs that are in there. When you buy them, you peel off the little cover, and most you probably already know that. Might be why you're watching this. Anyway, they you peel those off and they stay damp. There's like a little palette cover that goes in there, and I keep a damp paper towel on top of it. And you noticed I sprayed it when I opened the container. They do want to dry out because that's how paints work. But by keeping them moist or just re-wetting them when you're going to use them, they work just fine. If you want to take the time to do a pigment comparison with Liquitex or Winsor Newton, what do you think? They're under $20. Okay, so they are not going to win, nor are they probably going to be as light fast as or permanent. Like, they will fade. This is not the kind of artwork that you want to hang in a window. Any work on paper, that's the general guideline. Anyway, I'm mixing up some white, mostly white, with a little bit of the black. The black has pretty strong tinting strength, so I'm going to mix it mostly white with a little bit of black to get some gray for this metallic vintage robot that I have. You can see it there off to the side. It actually runs and can scoot around the table. It's pretty cool. Anyway, so I'm blocking in the big shapes of the grays and looking at the values. It goes through a lot of changes in the course of the video, and then I worked on it for a bit after that as well. You could go to my Instagram account or my website. Website is on the cover page, www.deborah-brooks.com, to see the finished results, or my Instagram, which is my name and portfolio. So I'm blocking in the big shapes. I like to start with a flat brush and sort of define the value structure. Where are the darks, where are the lights, where are the mediums? And I'm looking at the planes of the robot's arms. They are, made out of like a side, a front, another side, and a back. They're very boxy. So I'm looking at those planes. And I noticed from the sketch that I did of the neck area, it needed a lot of improvement when I got to the paint. And that's one of the things I like to emphasize in my teaching is, you can start with the sketch, but you don't need to just color it in. You can continue to keep it alive and adjusting it as needed. So I'm looking at, should we get that off of there? Just sort of setting up the values. The gouache is really nice and creamy, and you can layer over it very effectively. Yes, the layer underneath re-wets and merges with the new layer if it's very wet. So you want to control the amount of water that you're using. I use a little enamel tray, and even with that slippery surface, it dries really fast on there. So you've got to re-wet it on the palette as well. But that's typical for any gouache. I'm using Bristol paper, Strathmore Bristol paper, and it has a nice plate finish. I'm not using these very wet, so I don't really have any trouble with it buckling or anything like I would with a watercolor. I'm using it pretty dry. Anyway, I'm continuing to kind of punch in those darks to set up that value relationship. I adjusted a few times in the process of the painting, deciding which things I really want to make darker, which things I want to stand out, and where I want to have the most contrast. But if you haven't tried this gouache, there is this convenience factor of you don't have to unscrew all the little lids, squeeze out a little bit more. You can do that with your own gouache. You can buy a little container with a lid and squeeze out all your own, and then it's the same thing. So you can decide if you want to just have this convenience. It comes with a warm and a cool yellow, and then an ochre yellow. It has a warm red, a cool red, a brown. I'm not sure exactly what brown we want to call that. And then we've got purple, very deep indigo, a black, 2 greens, maybe 3 greens. And it comes with 2 whites. So I think that's a pretty nice thing. They're anticipating you're going to use a lot more white. So anyway, I started this today on a snow day. Got a surprise part-time off of work. Dealt with some emails and stuff like that, but had some extra chunk of time in the daylight. It was very pleasing to get out the set and work from home with my gouache. It feels like I think this video took 22 minutes. The sketch was like 6 minutes to sketch it. So in under an hour, I felt transported and fully relaxed from all the stress of the work that is on my plate right now. So, and there comes another email. Anyway, I hope you are finding time to sketch, and that reflection that goes with it is very restorative and feels really great. So even if you wreck it, even if it doesn't turn out, I've been doing this for such a long time. A lot of the things that I do don't turn into disasters like they used to, So, yeah, I had a lot of fun layering the gouache, mixing it over there on the little enamel tray. Very simple setup. You just need a little part of the kitchen table, really. Don't need a lot of space. I like to have a real object to look at. You can, of course, work from photographs. It's easier. But there's nothing like the light hitting the top of a little robot to, help you to see things in the moment. So I would definitely recommend checking it out. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, or you could email them to me. Like if you want to get started on this kind of thing, how do you get started? Big shapes first, all the details last, both with the paint drawing portion and the painting portion. I mean, you got to reserve some of the little stuff at the beginning. And that's why working together in a class is so helpful, because you can kind of discuss your strategy, and the people in the class can, give feedback about what has worked for them in the past. So I'll be doing some classes in March, but not in February. I'm looking more to March for that. So, and the thing about my classes is they're, at this point, I'm doing them as small groups where we work and draw together. I give a brief intro. I'm going to say 10 to 15 minutes. And then it's more of a problem solving along the way of the things that you want to figure out how to do. I just finished a class that was for 3 Thursdays in February. Some of you may be getting this video. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. It keeps you engaged while you're working. At night after work, it's so tempting to just say, I know, let's just watch another one of those shows. But this can really get you out of a rut, help you to see new things or see things differently that you're working on in another aspect of your life. The goal isn't necessarily to become an artist or sell your work, but it could be. It could be. So, but the goal is really to engage and to learn something new, like the thrill of learning something new. And the people in the class told me that they both felt really satisfied with the progress that they made, and were able to apply the techniques that we were exploring. So, and the thing about these small classes is you get to set your individual goals. At some point, I want to be having some bigger classes, but right now, this is like the best of all worlds. So if you want to get in on any of these, it's a great time to get a lot of individualized attention, or just try it on your own. So let's see. Working on, you can see I always keep the whole thing going at once. I don't just focus on one area. A lot of times that's determined by, I have this kind of gray on my brush right now. I'm going to put it all the places where there's that kind of gray. And you can see I dab it off to dry it because I want it to go on there kind of creamy, not real thin. And I'm leaving the background blank on these. It is not my typical mode, but somehow I feel like with all of these sort of intricacies and details of these little vintage toys, it seems like a good idea to just leave them blank at the moment. So let's see. Trying this voiceover technique, and the place where they show the recording, it like blocks part of the view that what you're trying to look at. It's super weird. Maybe I should do it on my computer, but I just wanted to do it from the phone because that's what I took the video with. Anyway, that kind of stuff, learning this sort of thing helps me to relate to the students in the class or whatever you're trying to learn. I can relate to beginner, what do you call those? Little bloopers, beginner bloopers or whatever, where it's like, oh, yep, could have done it that way. I can really relate to that. That's why I like to continue to learn new things. And for me, a lot of that's with technology. So it helps me to see how that feels, so I can relate to the struggles, and also just think if I was sharing, I practice sort of talking about foibles and bloopers and stuff like that, because I think it's the way to go. It helps me to learn new things. People will share things that they know how to do, and it's the same thing in a drawing class. And it can kind of rub off in other areas of your life too. You'd be surprised. So anyway, that white challenge to keep that white clean over there. Just saying, I make some cheaty moves and kind of go in there when I have to paint other colors on my brush. You pay for it later, but it's like, come on, I don't want to wash my whole brush all the way off right now. You see I have a few brushes there, but I'm using my very favorite one, which is a Da Vinci Cosmo Top Spin. It has a very nice handle. It's almost like a triangle. It's very hard to describe. It's like a rounded triangle. It's a number 8 flat, and very, I like the flat bristles because you can block in a really broad stroke, or a skinny line if you turn it the other way around. So if you were going to start trying to use these gouache, if you haven't before, pick something simpler and really just doodle with the paint for a while until you start trying to control it. Just sort of see what it does, try to get it to do a few things. I am going to put some more beginner videos out again that are like real playful exercises that you can do along with me. And maybe you want to try some of those exercises with these gouache. That would be pretty fun. So, when I paint, it's very hard for me to talk, so it's much easier for me to do this voiceover later. And I just keep it real simple. I mean, I don't do like big cutaway views or change up the angle of the camera in the middle of the thing. Hopefully I can learn how to do that and have it be useful for the information that I'm sharing. But I think sometimes just watching someone work, I remember in college there was a painting I was working on. It was a still life, and I got really stuck, and the professor, he'd make his sort of laps around the room, like talking to each person, a little here, a little there, skip you one time, talk to you the next time. He came over and was like, oh, try this. I could not for the life of me figure out what he was suggesting. And he hardly ever would put his paintbrush on he would hardly ever work on your work. But I said, I just really don't know what you're talking about. And he showed me like just a change of direction of the stroke that I had not been able to visualize. It made such a difference. So there are ways of working together where, it's not like someone's going to, I don't like the classes where someone tells me what to do the whole way through. I mean, I could just get a coloring book then and color, that'd be fine. But that's fine for really stressed out modes, but this can transport you in a way that you might not have expected. Anyway, let's see if we're almost done here. Can I speed this up? I don't really know that. No. Looks like I'm getting close to the end. Situating that under the robot, the little cast shadow. And the set of Himi watercolors under $20. Keep a damp paper towel in there to keep it moist. You can see my electric pencil or battery operated pencil sharpener up there by Derwent. I'm not painting with that paintbrush currently. I'm using that to brush off eraser dust. I've got a really nice little pencil sharpener up there that sharpens the wood, and then after you get the wood sharpened, you sharpen the lead in the other hole in the pencil sharpener. I'm liking how that gives a nice finish. And you see my little miniature right angle ruler type thing. Yep, you could use a ruler to get some straight lines if you need to. And I love a Talenti gelato container for water. It's just the right height for me, and I like that it's reusing it. So that's what I've got over there. And my trusty robot. I end up redoing the eyes a few times in the other, after I finish this video, because I didn't want to keep you forever. But, looks like it's just about complete. So let me know if you have questions about this or want to try, or if there's like some way that you, something that you're wondering, let me know. I think I'm going to end it right now, and then you can just look on my Instagram to see the finished, how the robot turned out. Okay? Thanks for coming. Deborah Brooks. See art like an artist.